Hi, my name is Dallas Thompson. This is my first video. I know we all gotta learn, we gotta start somewhere. So let's learn together. I wanna kind of give a thumbnail sketch of who I am because I have 5 different YouTube sites, and I'll go through that in more detail at the end of the video. But right now I want to use a broad brush. Who am I? What makes me tick, and why would I have some good advice or information that may prove beneficial to you? Because all our behaviors are based on benefits. If we don't feel good, we're not better off doing something, generally we won't keep doing it. So based on that, quick introduction about me. My basic philosophy is developing with a passion while exploring the world. Well, that sounds kind of grand, but let me explain. I've done it rather than wishing I had done it. It's not for the faint of heart. Example, usually you tend to, when you're a risk taker, you make more money or you lose more money. It's like gambling. No risk, no return. But a true entrepreneur, they don't take risks. They study the odds. How do you eliminate the risk? This is part of the process of being a businessman, eliminate the risk. So I say I'm a risk taker, but you try to eliminate the risk. So formal education, I have a bachelor's degree from Chaminade University of Honolulu. In addition, I have an MBA degree, the only one to receive with distinction award. My thesis was on a condo. I was the first person that did a condo conversion, Mesa, Arizona, way back in '82. These apartments, like a 99 units, pretty bad shape. Some of the units you can stand on the ground floor, look right up the blue sky, 2 stories up. I repaired them, rehabbed them, converted them to condo. There's different kinds of construction, like you can't have common walls. I had to stagger the studs to common walls so they're not common. And all the paperwork I had to go through governmental approvals. This is when 18% interest was the norm. I was fortunate. They were 2 and 3 bedrooms, or 1 and 2 bedrooms. And 1 bedroom was like $39.95, and 2 bedrooms was something like $45.95. I sold all of them within 90 days at 18% interest. It was a unique niche of having what the public needed, affordable housing, and that's an example of taking a risk. I have another master's. After my business venture, I decided I wanted to get into education. I had always been take no prisoners, business is warfare. But the educational process, I looked over it and I thought, I'd like to try that. So I went out into the personnel office and says, I want to be a teacher. Personnel, they're so bureaucratic, as all large organizations are. And they said, well, do you have a master's and your subject you want to teach? I says, no, I have a master's in business, but you have to have a credential. I learned in the Honda business, and I'll get that in a little bit later in terms of details. I was #1 high volume dealer in California, little small town of Lamont. Never heard of Lamont. It's a rural community, about 3,000 people, but people drove from all over the state to buy the Hondas. And I learned a lot then, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But anyway, I learned when they tell you no, that's when you start negotiating. And they said, well, you gotta have a credential, and you have to major in the subject you're going to teach. Makes sense, but I'm an exception. I'm not normal. So they says, well, you can take a national teacher's exam, but the only top 25% are awarded the credential. I said, sign me up. So I purchased some books about science. I like science. I read science magazines. And obviously, I passed the test, did pretty good on it. They says, you scored really high. So I became a science teacher. I remember in the teacher's lounge, I learned not to ever say this again, but I said, last week I couldn't spell teacher, now R1. It wasn't very well accepted. So in any event, I went on and got another master's in administration because I determined that I could affect more students. Like I had maybe 150 students a day teaching science classes. But if I was administrator, like assistant principal or a principal, I'd have maybe 1,500, 2,000 students that I could make a difference. So I had to get another credential, administrative credential. And you have to take so many courses, I got another master's. So then I went ahead and thought, well, I might as well get my PhD. So at that time, it was around 1998, 1990 era. Internet just kicking on. It was new. And I thought, I wonder how distance education compares to, they called it click and mortar for brick and mortar. So how does distance education, the students' outcome, compare to students that went to a regular learning institution? What's the results? And it's interesting. The final analysis, it's like comparing apples and oranges. First of all, I learned in the process there's no such thing as random. I worked in crypto, to back up a minute, and we worked on randomly, based on a noise diode, to flip the ones and zeros of a binary stream. Well, in studying for my PhD, I learned an example. If you lay by a stream, once in a while, a drop of water jumps out of the stream and hits your leg. And you lay there and another one. If you lay long enough, there's a pattern that's developed. So the randomness, if you have a sample that's long enough, it repeats itself. So it's another topic, but my background, I also was a real estate developer. I was that prior to the educational phase of my life. Prior to that, I owned a Honda dealership. And as I said earlier, it was #1 in California. I learned a lot in terms of sales process. My competitors would stand around. It's obvious they're not customers, and watch what I'm doing like I had some secret code or sauce give to the customer. But the process, people that study sales are involved in, #1, you got to develop a personal relationship with the customer. Find out their buying cycle. Where are they? And what are their needs? Oftentimes, they don't really understand what their needs are. So you got to identify the needs. There's this process you go through. And I got very good at it, and my competitors got together, had a meeting, and they said, your facilities might just burn down. Well, I kind of laughed it off, and bottom line, it was illegal, but we did it. I was so cocky, sure of my sales process, that I agreed not to discount the sales of the Hondas, sell them at the same price. This is years ago. It's probably illegal now. But in any event, I still outsold my nearest competitor 2-1. So I enjoyed it, and I learned a lot of life lessons in the process. So I retired when I was 33 years old. And then I became a general contractor. And become a general contractor, you're supposed to have, maybe 4 years of field experience and etc. So again, I had dabbled at it because I bought a lot of apartments because I was making a lot of money, more money than I ever dreamed when I retired. I was born very poor, 2-room house, outdoor toilet in Lamont. Anyone has read The Grapes of Wrath by Steinbeck? that's my roots. My relatives were there when Steinbeck came through the camp they were living in. The photographer Dorothy Lang was taking pictures of some of my relatives, the kids playing in the mud puddles. Yeah, that's what Okies, that's what they call these people, Okies, because they came from Oklahoma. And my uncle felt they were being made fun of, so he took the camera away from Dorothy, threw it down on the ground, stomped on it, because he wasn't going to let his relatives be made fun of. But that's my background, from a 2-room house to retiring at 33. I became a millionaire, and it was beyond my wildest dreams. It wasn't my goal. It was just, I learned that money is a scoring system, how well you do. The process, to me, is more important. I had to learn that. So I had already purchased a lot of apartments, and a lot of those I had to fix up. So the process gave me a background. I qualified for a general contractor's license. So I became a contractor. I became an engineer. I qualified to build anything in California, from bridges, highways, sewer systems, nuclear reactors. I had the engineering license. I had the general contractor's license. I could build subdivisions. I did build subdivisions. So I became a real estate broker, vertically integrated. So I had my own sales staff. I'd buy the land, rezone it, develop its highest, best use. Most of the time I was building residential subdivisions. And in the process, after the broker's license, I got another license in Arizona for contractors and real estate brokers. But I got a Series 63 that enabled me to be a financial broker. I didn't get a lot involved with a public financial broker, too busy making money for myself. So I have developed on YouTube. I'm very beginning. I'm ambitious, so I will have this channel focused on me as an individual. I've got another channel on, it's called Best RV Travel, where it allows, the RV of course allows travelers to experience their great outdoors, and I love that. Comfortable and convenient way with many RV parks. They're all over scenic locations, often a range of outdoor adventures. I have another channel, real estate. Like I said, I own a lot of apartments. The rules of thumb, it's one of the best ways of gathering wealth, generating wealth. I have another site. My son enjoys gaming. I thought, you know what? I don't really care for it, but I want to learn about it. So I got a site dedicated to gaming. It can provide a wide range of benefits, such as improving cognitive skills. They found, like Air Force, because I was in the Air Force, I was in the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Far East, crypto, that these games actually, they make good drone pilots. So there's a lot of positive benefits in that. Also, I'm gonna have a website on, it's called Moneyable. Money can enable lots of freedom. That's all. It won't buy happiness. I've learned that the hard way. It won't buy happiness. Like an example, I'll interrupt myself. I was at the Berlin Wall when they breached it. I had just gotten a divorce. Very expensive. That wound up in international news about rich developer refuses to pay child support. It wasn't true, but that's what my ex-wife was telling everyone, so it made the news. And I thought, I don't need anybody. I'm bitter. I'm not a happy camper. So I go to Europe on a Eurail pass. It's where you can buy, I had bought a 90-day ticket, travel the trains, first class, unlimited, go anywhere in Europe. In Britain, I had to buy a BritRail to go there, but you just jump on a train, take off, go. And I was at the Berlin Wall when the sun's coming up, Christmas morning. And the wall meant a lot to a lot of people. There's a lot of partying and drinking going on. And I had a realization, I was by myself because I'm bitter. I don't need anybody. I don't need anything. I can do it all on my own. That's the way I felt at the time. But I learned at the wall that for me to enjoy something, I'm better if I can share. It was epiphany for me. So I have a piece of that wall, by the way. It took a lot of banging with a hammer to get a piece of that concrete, but I have some chips laying around somewhere. But I've got a channel just for investments. And the thing that's a common thread through all my activities I've done is psychology. I really like psychology because it runs through everything we do. So it's going to be an exciting ride, going through all this stuff, sharing. Let me give an example. When I said I've done it rather than wish I've done it, I had explored Europe when I had won. I was #1 dealership in California. Honda gave me an all-expense paid trip to Europe. So I had explored it on a first-class basis, but when I had just gotten a divorce, I'm bitter, dejected. I wanted to go backpacking. Backpacking, it's an excitement. I would recommend that for a lot of the young kids too. Everything you own's in your backpack, and you go to hostel to hostel. For example, I stayed in Hawaii for it was $11 a night. I stayed in Fiji, $4 a night. I stayed in Waikiki, about 2 blocks from the beach. It was like $10 a night. So I went all over the world backpacking. I really enjoyed it. It was part of my exploration phase. I decided I'm a real estate developer, and there's nothing going on. The economy is terrible. And I went to a travel agency in Hawaii and asked them, where can I go in the world? It's like Hawaii was 100 years ago. They said, Cook Islands. So I jumped on a plane, went to Cook Islands, and the islands there, there's about, let me give you the exact details here. I put on my cheaters. It's 15 islands in the South Pacific, spread over the size of India with a population no bigger than a small country town, about 13,000 souls. So it's small, it's rural, and the main island, the big one, is Rarotonga. So think about it. They have their own language. You go enjoy a vigorous and diverse culture with significant difference between each island. Australia kind of sponsors them, like gives them a lot of stuff. But I asked the natives there, hey, there was no motels, no resorts, nothing, just small little airport. And I said, how come you guys don't build resorts and motels? Why? The answer floored me. I'd always, since I was born real poor, 2-room house with the outdoor toilet, driven to make money. I thought that was the answer to everything. Well, here I see a culture, money's not important. I said, you build motels and resorts, you make money. He says, why? He said, we have everything we need. So that's the culture that was prevalent during that time, since they've got resorts. But while I was there, I would stand at a hostel because they didn't have motels. A hostel is like bunk arrangements. And one thing I'm very proud of, I've traveled all over. All these hostels, male and female sleep in the same room, shower together. I didn't see any hanky-panky. I'm really impressed. The youth. I've been up Denmark, way up there, all over. And people are really good people usually. But back to Cook Islands, I wanted to explore the island since I can't build anything. I asked them with the post office, what do you need, a new post office? No. Nobody wanted to change. So The highest part is like 2,000 feet hill, or mountain. I'll call it because they call it mountain. Very tropical. There's like 3 layers of forest. Big, tall is 120 foot, 150 foot. Then kind of the struggling trees trying to break through the canopy. Then there's grasses and small bushes on the ground. And I know there's nothing poisonous on the island, so I had on shorts and t-shirt. And I'm going to explore. Again, I was by myself. So I follow this trail, and pretty soon I have to use a rope. This is not for the general public because they wouldn't have that dangerous of a trail, but I climbed it when I got to the top of the mountain, little flat area, maybe 20 feet. That's it, the end. Looked over the next mountain, there's a canyon in between. I see a radio antenna. Well, I had an engineering license that I had I had 2 kinds of engineer licenses. One of them was to build bridges, freeway, dams. The other one was electronic. I had got a real good background in electronics school, 972 hours of studying. That I learned how to study, by the way. I learned how to learn. It was top secret. You couldn't take notes. You couldn't talk about it. Marines all over the place. Lackland Air Force Base. And you're subject to search at any time. Airmen against the wall. And interesting, they sent a spy. There's a spy there, and they knew it. Gave him everything he wanted. He drove a new Avanti. So anyway, back to this Cook Islands doing rather than wish you'd done it theme. I'm pushing down. There's nothing poisonous. I'm pretty brave. Tumbling down the hill, going up the other side of the canyon, climb up to that tower, and there's no roads. So I guess it's built with a helicopter. So it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So I decide, you know what? Let's push down this mountain here, because every Boy Scout knows that you find a river, stay with it, you'll be all right. Because I knew we're surrounded, we're an island. There's a road all the way around the island. So I pushed down, find this little stream. It is about, 10, 15 foot wide, and come to a waterfall. Well, that ain't good. So I walk, climb, crawl up this very wet, moist, grassy dirt, really steep, at least 45 degrees, because there's 2 canyons come together. That's where the stream was. And I go up about 15, 20 feet, then I parallel the stream, go past the waterfall, come back down, no problem. Ran across another waterfall, same thing. Coming to this other one, by this time, it's getting kind of dark because it's wintertime. And I'm going parallel to the stream, and I come to this huge mudslide. There is nothing there, and I gotta somehow get across it. So I'm reaching down in the mud, and I can feel rocks and roots, and I'm hanging on to working my way parallel to the waterfall to get past it. And my worst nightmare happened. The root broke, and I'm so steep. Immediately I tumble, and I flatten my body out to stop the tumbling, and I'm sliding, still tumbling some, but I see this one little about, probably 5-6 inch diameter tree between me and the rocks below where the 2 mountains come together, this canyon. And I grabbed that in my left hand. I got a death grip on that. And I hear the rocks tumbling on down to the stream. And I can't see out of my left eye. And I'm shook up, but I'm hanging on, thinking, what am I gonna do? No one in the world knows where I am. I'm by myself, and I'm stuck right in the middle of this big rock slide. There's nothing. And I gotta get across. I can't go down because I crashed in the rocks. So I kept my I'm not letting go of my left hand of that tree. That's my salvation. But I took my right hand, rubbed my eye because I couldn't see, and I immediately saw this red film coming down. Well, that means my eye split my eyebrow, and I'm bleeding. It's no big deal. I looked at the tree and I actually knocked the bark off that tree with my eye. So now the fun part begins. What do I do? I'm all right. Nothing's broken. And the bleeding stops. And I start feeling around. And it taught me a life lesson. When all else fails, take a deep breath. Never, ever give up. And I kept digging around in the mud, and I'd find a rock. I'd move, now I'm trying to go not necessarily across the stream, but down like an angle, get down out of this clearing ASAP, as soon as possible. And I haven't made it, obviously, or I wouldn't be telling you my experience. So I get back down there, and by now it's dark, and I'm stomping around in this stream. I'm exhausted. I took a picture. I had an underwater camera with me, or a waterproof camera. And I remember sticking that lens out, snap. I thought it was pretty cool. I feel like Indiana Jones, but I had the look of sheer terror on my face. Anyway, I keep stomping through, and I'd fall down quite a bit because it's dark now. And the problem was there were trees growing across the stream. You can't see them. So you're walking and smack all over. You get hit with these limbs and trees. So I fell down, and right here, just inches from my teeth, is the sharp rock that came up to my teeth. I thought, you know what? I gotta stop. I'm gonna get hurt. So I crawled up on this flat rock because I could feel it. It's flat. And I'm just gonna stay here. And I looked up at the trees, and remember, they're real tall trees, the jungle. And once in a while, I could see starlight. Well, as long as I got starlight, I don't have to worry about rain coming, and this stream turned into a raging river, and I get flooded out down here. So I stayed in that flat rock. I'm there maybe 30 minutes. There's a blue flash went off right beside me. And then I saw sparks went off in the tree. I thought, that's electric eel. I've been stomping around that stream half the day. So anyway, that's the experience. I'll stop there because I'm kind of rambling. I have a life full of excitement, of celebrations, heartache. I've lived a full life, and I want to share it. So be sure, and if you want to look at my more about me, look at the website www.DallasWThompson.com. No, I'm not from Dallas. My mother was born in Dallas, and I had a cousin named Dallas, and she liked the name. So I went all my life, were you born in Dallas? No, but I told him if I have a girl, I'll call her Corpus Christi. I hope you've learned something in me sharing my life with you, and I'll have some more information, and I hope you learned something. And that concludes this session. Oh, and an important part, don't forget, subscribe, like this. I'm doing this because I want to, and I hope you're listening to me because you want to. And if you want to hear more every time I put something out, that's the only way you're going to know. Subscribe. So hit that button. Thank you very much. You have a good day.